Hello folks, how are you? You see that flag behind me there? You recognize the U.S. flag, of course. How about this one here? Recognize that flag? This will give you a little clue as to where I am. You see it? Oh, okay, we're starting to unfurl the flag. There we go, there we go. Oklahoma! Yes, we're in Oklahoma, folks. On the Common Sense Club of the Hdhdh Show. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma to be exact. We came down here actually to spend a couple of days, mostly work, but a little bit of play. First the work. Oil and gas, a big part of North Dakota's economy. One might argue that our economy, up and down in every corner of North Dakota, really, not just in the oil patch, is addicted to oil revenue, without question. And so anytime there are perils to this industry, we need to say, wait a minute, what does that mean for our economy? Well, there are some perils out there right now. There's some pretty sizable storm clouds, and it has to do with the federal government, on the regulation side and also the taxation side. There is an interesting piece of legislation that is starting to shape up that is a recognition by Democrats in Congress that there is a difference between major, large, world conglomerate oil companies, they're called integrated, big oil basically, and independent oil companies. That's a good sign. Some of the biggest independent oil companies in the world are here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That's why we're here to help tell that story and what it means for North Dakota's economy on the Common Sense Club. Anyway, more of that on the upcoming show. A little recap of what we did on the last show. We did get an update from Mike Cantrell, also known as Bubba from Continental Resources, live from Washington, D.C. A number of oil and gas companies are there making the case about what I just told you about, look, the federal government and a lot of state governments are being subsidized by oil and gas, not the other way around. Don't mess it up. And if you want prices to come down, allow more supply, more drilling. Take the shackles off. So we talked to Mike about that. We talked about the big bombshell news, and that is that Rick Berg is in the race. It's not official yet, but a lot of folks talking about the fact that it will be announced next week. Rick Berg in the Senate race, moving on up. And Al Carlson told us on the show he is seriously considering a House run. So the first House candidate has announced as well, and it happened live on the Hdhdh Show and the Common Sense Club. So that's big news. We also talked to Al about the legislative session, his thoughts on that, a little bit about higher ed. You know, he was very sympathetic actually towards NDSU's quest for excellence and spoke very highly of NDSU, but also would like to see, like a lot of us, them do a better job of defending why it is they can't live within the means that everybody else is. And in this case, it was a suggested 2.5% increase in tuition, and they went with 8.8%. But he was cautious because he thinks it's unfair that the legislature gets pointed as being anti-higher ed when they do as much as they do to fund it. Al's point is we have to do something with the funding formula. We got to fix that. So we talked to him about that. Also, Gary Emmeth was on to talk about his view that there should not be a third party out of the Tea Party caucus. He spoke highly of Rick Berg running for the Senate race and talked a little bit about his role in the Tea Party caucus and what he envisions that to be. You can check that out. Also, Maury Lanning with an update on the Minnesota Vikings Stadium. He's not optimistic because it's happening so late in the session they're going to get it done. But he did meet with Ziggy Wilf and found out why they liked Ramsey County and Arden Hills and that plan and shared a little bit about that. Also told us about being treated unlike any other time in his entire political career by another human being, and that was at the hands of Governor Mark Dayton berating him. He absolutely berating him in a meeting about budget issues. Very odd. Anyway, that's what happened on the show. That's the After the Show show, and we'll do it all over again tomorrow on the Common Sense Club and the Hdhdh Show. Thanks for watching.